Hello and welcome to episode 40 of Entertainment of Excellence, the podcast where we talk about films, TV, all of it. Hi, I'm Ollie.
I'm Ben's Ready Salted Crisp. Thom.
I'm Tom's cheese and onion nightmare.
And today we're talking about the 2018 film Sorry to Bother You, which will contain spoilers.
Yeah, that's interesting.
So we watched Sorry to Bother You, which follows Cassius Green, who starts a job as a telemarketer at the company Regal View, and he realizes that he could achieve success by putting on a white voice, and this boosts him up the ranks to become a power caller, where he finds out that they're selling they're doing arms dealing and slave trade, and it all gets a bit weird. He meets with the top of the company, who's turning the workers into half horse people so that they're more productive. So he tries to organize strikes and stuff against them to bring them down, but it doesn't really work. It kind of ends in a big protest and then riot where he's broken out the half horse people. I don't know. I think that's about right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. What? That's a good plot summary.
Very strange plot.
Yeah, I mean, because it starts off fairly normal. It's kind of I can't think of another. Because it's a thing that I like, but there must be some past example.
Do you mean the style?
Of where everything's kind of normal and then it becomes very strange.
I mean, in some ways it reminded me a bit of being John Malkovich. Not that was ever really normal, but some of the absurd nature of it was kind of similar in this as well.
It reminded me a bit of Hot Fuzz and Shaun of the Dead.
Yeah.
Oh, really? I was thinking more like Terry Gilliam because of it is more surreal with horse people and the ridiculous lift with the infinite code.
Yeah. I meant the start.
Oh yeah, right. I see that because with the thing at the start, I remember getting really jumped with that first scene in his room, and then the garage door just opens because you don't realise it's a garage, and that sudden, I don't know, it was like my reality had been altered. I wonder if that was foreshadowing.
Yeah, I had to rewind it for a second. I was watch it again. I was like, wait, he's in a garage? Especially given that the particular moment it occurs, that was quite inconvenient.
Yeah, and I guess we'll probably come on to this, but that sort of feeds in, as you were saying, with it being foreshadowing. It's also that cyclical structure where no matter what happens in the film itself, and he's able to progress through all these different ranks, at the end he still returns to going back to the garage where he's able to have the most happiness.
Yeah. There's a lot of things in this film, maybe we could talk about the general world where... Ben, do you think you could scrunch up your crisp packet any louder, please?
How have you know I've been muting my mic?
Oh. Not for us, though.
No, of course.
Thanks for letting us go through the pain. This whole time we've been talking with Ben munching crisps in the background.
I'm being very professional.
Anyway, yeah, very professional. I enjoy this idea of a world where it's like a very believable dystopia. So it's not a kind of totalitarian thing. It's one of the few dystopias where it's not kind of government imposed. So it's like almost kind of like Blade Runner, because that's all very like corporate stuff, you know, the cyberpunk kind of aesthetic. Except, so this is the dystopia part seem to be more from companies themselves and you know, the want for greed. So obviously, like Worry Free seems to be a kind of representation of like office work, where you just go to work. You don't really, you know, some people just feel like they're not really doing anything. You go to work, you come home, there's nothing in between. Kind of like selling yourself into work. That's what Worry Free felt like. And there's a lot of kind of is also kind of Silicon Valley-esque, like the Steve Lift guy. You know, that kind of bro dude, like creator of an app or something that's made them millions, and then they become insufferable. And he's like, when he's like, oh, I wouldn't give you the horse catalyst without telling you. I'm not evil. After he's just told him about turning people into horse people, he's like, I'm not. Look, it's logical. It makes profits.
But I definitely agree that it is like, it's a dystopia, but it's almost, in some ways, it's like anti-establishment, because you have obviously all the protest and the union activity, which obviously isn't too unimaginable in a current climate. But then you also have stuff like the quite sadistic TV programs, you know, where like people enjoy inflicting pain on other people, and somehow that's like one of the most popular things. And then also when that video goes viral of throwing a coal at his head, that's like, it just sort of shows a instability, I guess, in society, which it approaches it in a very different way. Because the thing with this film, it has a lot of quite subtle things that you have in other films, like the guy with the eye patch, the fact that he is never given a name and it's like beeped out, that's almost derivative of Kill Bill, where something quite similar happens in that. And then like the white voice thing reminded me quite a bit of Black Klansman. I know they came out in the same year, but it did have like, it used things from other films, but it was quite unique, I felt.
Oh, definitely. This is like a very different film, where it wants to be, you know, it's got like this surreal, quirky tone, but is very direct in its messaging. It's, you know, like anti-capitalist, pro-union, worker power kind of messaging. So it's definitely like, I don't know, it's one of the most unique films I've seen, where it's kind of got this, you know, Charlie Kaufman, Terry Gilliam weirdness paired with political satire.
Yeah, especially like the fact that it's so directed, its message, and then just the contrast with that, with the surrealism that just, I don't really know how to describe it. It's just, it doesn't feel like that much. It feels like really simple and easy to digest, and even to the point where like the surrealism, you just kind of accept it as just, that's just how it be.
It gets the shock out of the way quite quickly when he's gone through the olive door, not the jade door. Oh, can't believe you got them mixed up.
One
and
idiot.
Then it gets the sudden shock of like, oh no, there's some guy like in pain in a stall, let's open it. And then it's like shocks you with this half horse person. Like, it's obviously supposed to be shocking, and then it manages to do the thing it makes a statement of, where it says, if you just show people the problem without like a real solution, it normalizes the problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you just kind of then you just get used to the horse people, and you're like, yeah, it's fine. They're turning people into horses, whatever.
And it's also kind of.
Because
I was just gonna say that the way that they introduced the horse person as well wasn't as shocking as it could have been, because you'd seen him snorting coke before, so you just kind of assumed it was a hallucination. Obviously,
Yeah,
when you realised it
I
wasn't.
I thought he was gonna like try and cover it up and blame it on him being high, which I guess is sort of similar to the Truman showing that he's trying to like hide this reality by making them seem insane, but then they don't. But it definitely
it's
had
because
that shock factor.
Yeah, because that's part of it. Like, that's obviously supposed to be about having. We're going to be saying society a lot.
Oh no!
Having a society. It's very driven by profit. So, the Steve Lift doesn't like. He just wants profits, and he doesn't really think about anything else. So he's like, yeah, turning people into horses is fine. Profits and stuff. Whatever, it's cool.
As long as it boosts productivity, then who cares about
yeah.
else?
You'd be cutting costs in half, Ollie. Oh, wow. Isn't that crazy?
Basic economics.
Yeah, exactly. So that's like part of it. And what was the thing about him going like, Mr. Lip? He's like, don't call me Mr. He's like, Steve? I thought he just wanted to call him Lift.
Yeah. But then I guess the story also kind of focuses on how have I forgotten his name already?
Cassius Green.
Cassius or Cash, yeah.
Yeah,
his journey sort of
Cash is green.
His follows his like journey. So he starts off as just like a simple telemarketer, who just is looking for any job because he needs to pay his rent. And then he excels at his job and sort of just moves up like classes, becomes part of like the privileged elite, and his personality changes a lot because of that. He becomes a lot more self-centered, and it's clearly he thinks he's doing the right thing, but he's also very misguided, which is a like pretty common character arc. But I guess the way it's done in this sort of unique environments with this social commentary is quite interesting. And then the way that when he discovers the horse people, the Equipsapiens, was it Equisate? It was something like that. Where he realizes that suddenly no, he's been bad, and needs to fix everything.
Yeah, which I guess it kind of shows that like he's not entirely corrupted by this capitalist system, because he also almost see this like social mobility of him climbing through the different ladders that work and like advancing naturally. It sort of means that he doesn't become complacent when he gets to the top, and he doesn't sort of just take the $100 million that he's offered. Instead, he realizes that this is corrupt and he fights against it.
Yeah.
There's quite a lot of themes like that are touched upon in this as well. Like obviously the humiliation of the TV shows. I think part of it was because he goes on that show to reveal the message to the world, and it's I feel like that was talking about how if you try and do anything with the media, that you quite often get utterly humiliated. So that's kind of talked about. There's stuff about like I really liked the scenes when he was calling people and he'd like drop into their homes.
Yeah,
because it is like a quite a big intrusion. Like it was an interesting way to show this intrusion where you're just pushing yourself into someone else's life. And because Boots Riley was actually a telemarketer, and he wrote the script based on his experiences. I don't know if he saw any half-horse people, but he was a telemarketer, and you understand why it does that, because it can be awkward for both of them, but it also shows how you can like manipulate people into thinking they're your friends. So like the one where he's talking to the older lady whose husband has like cancer or something, and he's like, well, one of our books is all about well-being, and you just feel awful.
Yeah.
So it definitely talks about, like, touches on that as well. And another one is like how in this is probably the last one I'll touch on very quickly, is like how black people are viewed if they move higher up in like social class. So at the party, you know, they're like, oh, get rid of your white voice, and oh, we know you can rap. And he's like, no, I can't. It's embarrassing. And they're like, oh, come on. And like, no one says it, but it's obviously just because he's black. And then when he does turn out to be terrible at rapping, he then just
Repeats
you know,
the
goes
N-word.
to saying something, yeah, saying literally, basically just a different way of saying stuff black people say.
Yeah.
And
Just repeated over
it
and over
also
again.
kind of talks about, yeah, so it also talks about race relations in that way.
Yeah, just coming back to the telemarketing thing you were talking about, I think it's definitely interesting that although there's obviously a criticism of the hidden agenda of this corporation with the, you know, this mysterious place you can go afterwards if you succeed, but it's also sort of condemning the actual telemarketing system itself in the fact that you're rewarded for this manipulation, and the whole thing going back to that race issue is that, you know, you have to adopt this voice that doesn't necessarily embody you just for success, so he starts to become someone that he's not.
Yeah, and it's definitely, they say it's to sound like, you have to sound like someone that's, they've never been fired, they've only been laid off, they don't have to worry about bills or rent. You know, it's what like the clients wished they sounded like, I think he said.
Yeah.
So it's kind of that idea of just safety and comfort, and I think it's David Cross they got for his voice, who's in like Arrested Development and stuff. And interesting, they got Patton Oswalt for Mr. Boops, white voice, which is very strange because Patton Oswalt voices Remy in Ratatouille, so that was all I could imagine, especially because the guy wears a hat. Just imagine Remy underneath the hat pulling his strings, even though he's bald, it wouldn't really work.
But then that
and I just want to touch on that guy has like the facial hair that I thought of when I was a kid. I was like, it would actually be possible to just get the sideburns going into a mustache, and I've always wondered what that would look like, and now I know it looks terrible.
Have you never seen that before?
What, sideburns into a mustache? No, you'd have to be insane to do that.
Well, I've seen pictures, and like objectively, like his are just terrible. Like there's better versions out there. Anyway, on another note, kind of just going back to the idea that the white voice is sort of what the people on the other end of the phone want to be, you know, not worrying about rent, driving off in this Ferrari after the call, and it's not any consequence to them. I think then it's kind of symbolic when Cash starts like using the white voice unintentionally and just like finds himself talking in it, and his girlfriend gets a bit weirded out and tells him to stop. I kind of just interpreted that as like It's not just the person on the other end that wishes that, it's also him subconsciously wishing for that and manifesting.
That's true, because I mean, I saw it as maybe him just getting like comfortable in a richer lifestyle, but yeah, that also makes sense. I was ready for that to happen. I assumed that would happen, but that was the only thing that was predictable in this film.
That he gets more comfortable and he's rich.
Yeah, like that's. I assumed that he would use the white voice unintentionally at some point.
Yeah.
What I did not assume was half horse people.
But I think that, I mean, it is actually mentioned in the film itself when they're trying to like read into this this statue of the horse, and they're like, oh, could this be a metaphor for, dehumanization and reification of workers? But I think that there's definitely, and then she's like, oh, well, no, it could literally just be that they're horse people. But that is definitely something that is seen throughout, and that's why it is so critical of the capitalist system, because these people are just becoming part of the production process, and they're only literally being they're sort of seen as heroes by the corporation just because of their output rather than their actual life. And I guess that's something that was quite predictable, is he's Cash himself isn't necessarily made happier when he starts to make more money and climb up in society. But I think it's quite nice that he gets that redemption at the end and sort of fights against the corruption, even though he ultimately does become one of these horse people.
Yeah. I think it could also be the thing about the horse statue, them saying like, oh, maybe it's just literal, is because like the other meaning of the "sorry to bother you" title, like, is obviously it's what telemarketers say, but it's also like what you'd say if this is from like Boots Riley himself. He says it's what people would say if you're like telling someone a view that they're not very willing to accept. So obviously in this film it'd be quite difficult for like maybe business owners to watch because it's extremely anti-business. So it's kind of that idea of people not wanting to accept stuff people are saying, or like different ideas. Maybe that could be part of it. Maybe I'm reading into it too much, because I'm also not sure about like what the modern art section was, where she was getting like sheep's blood and phones chucked at her and stuff. I don't know what that was about.
I don't think anyone does.
I assumed it was because there was a scene when he was meant to be picking her up at the street corner and ended up going to like a gallery, and it was just really bare, and there was a few like little things of Africa on the wall. And I thought it was just gonna be like kind of bad and empty, but like she was upselling it. But no, I don't think anything could have prepared me for what it actually was. Reciting lines from something in a British accent, any sheep's blood and phones chucked at it. Like,
yeah, because she was using a white voice as well.
Because like
it is.
I know she was...
No, it's actually Detroit's white British voice. Sorry, that's what the credit says.
Yeah, because I understand the art itself was like criticizing, I guess, capitalism, the exploitation of people in Africa to mine minerals for phones, but I don't really understand quite how the presentation of that played into the rest of the plot. I guess it just did.
Yeah, I can't remember what she was saying. I think at one point I was like, it could be about trying to like show people the problems that capitalism can bring, because it's like bullets and like animal blood and stuff that they're chucking. So it could be that, but it's one of those where it's probably got loads of different interpretations, or maybe they just did it and they're like whatever. Because afterwards, I can't, what's his name? It's the guy from Walking Dead. Oh yeah, Squeeze. When she's like, oh, how was it? And he says, oh, it was fiery. And she's like, fiery? That's it. It's like, I was like, that's not that bad to say, is it? I didn't know what she was wanting to say.
It's quite a passionate performance, to be fair. I'd have thought Fiery would have done it justice.
You could say Fiery. Yeah. Who knows?
I guess she was explaining it earlier in the film, but her dialogue slowly faded out because because Cash was looking at the weed.
Oh yeah. I'd say that although like the twist with the horse thing was like so out of the blue and it might be quite off-putting for people, I'd say that scene was like probably the weirdest, just because to me it doesn't really have any valid explanation, or it didn't really fit in with anything else. I know that there were things that like you probably could read into, but it didn't really have that obvious message. It just felt a bit out of place.
Yeah.
I was fine with it. I don't know. That scene I was alright with.
It fit in with the rest of the film, but
yeah,
it's just a bit weird.
Well, you're not wrong there.
Was this Boots Riley's directorial and writing debut, I think?
Yes.
It might actually be the only thing, because it looks like he does the soundtrack for a lot of stuff, but
yeah, it's because he's in a band, The Coup, which made an album based off the story of this before the film was actually produced. So the screenplay was written in 2012, so it for people wondering, it's definitely not a critique of like Trump's America. It just happened to be a bit too real.
Yeah, because there's obviously like the soundtrack and the score.
Definitely.
For the film.
Because I mean, you know, I'd definitely say the standout, the music, the standout.
Yeah.
Of it, but a lot of it was done by. I was literally listening to the soundtrack, and I've already forgotten who it was by.
Tune Yards.
Tune Yards, that's it. Yeah, and it does have music from The Coup and Boots Riley. So the music is very personal, and I was bopping along to some of the tunes. Like I definitely remember when the title cards came up after he got the job, and that had a really good like little like riff thing. A lot of it, I did enjoy the music.
Yeah, there was a really cool sequence where, as he started to make more money, like the things inside of his house started to like break open.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
And
it was like it was kind of shedding.
Yeah,
it was like shedding, his poorer persona and putting on this richer one. Like I think I noticed before, like he became a power caller, the way he'd stand, he was often like slumped over a bit.
Yeah.
But then when he got promoted, he stood up taller a lot more. And I did really like LaKeith Stanfield's performance. I thought he did well of portraying the character, and he definitely made him likable, because at points he has to kind of do unlikable things, but you still have to root for the character, and I think he did a good job at doing that, because when he was doing the phone strike, you could tell he was actually it looked like he actually wanted to do it, whereas maybe like another actor might have, because he gets promoted anyway afterwards, might have just shown it as him not caring, but he obviously does care, because it comes into it later on. Like he could have just accepted the half-horse people and got $100 million. But that reveal, by the way, of the pay, where it's like hands him a piece of paper which is written on with like Sharpie that says, "I'm offering you $100 million," smiley face.
Because didn't they do like a reveal of money earlier, but it didn't actually show you how much he was about to make?
Yeah, that was with Mr. Blank or
Yeah.
Mr. Underscore. Yeah, they didn't show you for his first paycheck, but he seemed to know a bit about the system because like he actually takes off his white voice at one point, doesn't he, when he tells him to go see Steve lift.
Yeah.
I'm not sure why.
Yeah.
I wonder if he does that at that point to kind of show solidarity after like humiliating himself with the rap thing. Which, by the way, the bit leading up to the rapping and the rap itself is some of the most uncomfortable scenes I've ever seen. Like I was I could barely watch. Like I was cringing so much. I mean, that was definitely the point, but
Yeah.
It does do really well with having like the comedy as well as the commentary. Comedy
Yeah.
and commentary.
Because a lot of it is quite overt in that it's critical of a lot of these things that you're presented with, but then at the same time, they're able to have that blend with comedy and absurdism that keeps you entertained and keeps you invested in these twists that otherwise would seem quite out of the blue and a bit off-putting, I guess.
Yeah. Like, what was the deal with the lift? The voice in the lift? Like, welcome, Cassius Green. I hope you have not masturbated today. We need you sharp and ready to go.
I'm only a computer, but
something
I
else
would love to
about it being
massage
like...
that muscular brain of yours.
Yeah. It was... That was very strange. I can't remember. There are like normal things of comedy as well, but I can't remember it right now.
What was the whole thing where he's at the bar and then he goes to the VIP section?
Okay, yeah, that probably did need to be in it.
Yeah.
I don't know what that was about. That was strange. Probably something to do with him being like invisible, but I don't
thought
know.
it was
Maybe
gonna be
also
something
like
his first glimpse of the upper class, and he didn't like it.
yeah,
But I can't really
or
think
like
of
a
anything.
breakdown of this.
Yeah, and
he admires this system and these upper classes, but in reality, it doesn't really suit him. And then that's like
I guess it's like when you
with
peak
adopting this white voice.
Yeah, and it's like you idolize the idea, and then when you peek behind the curtain,
yeah,
it's not good. But I can't remember all the comedy aspects. Oh, I liked all the like different graffiti on the signs. The way they'd always like show you the sign and then so you'd remember it later when it was graffitied. That was clever.
What was going on with the earrings as well?
What, like murder, 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 kill, kill, kill?
Yeah.
That's what I remember. Some of them, I know one of them was like lyrics of a Bob Dylan protest song or something. But yeah, the earrings obviously were important. I guess that was something to do with expression.
Yeah.
Only thing that confused me was like, obviously when Cash entered the sort of upper class and changed his attitudes towards all of his friends and his girlfriend, and his girlfriend broke up with him and everything. But then once he turned back, she was just like, cool, but that doesn't change anything between us. We're still broken up. Then right at the end, they're absolutely just magically back together again. That confused me a bit.
Yeah, that's true.
Then he grows horse nostrils, and it's left ambiguous.
And the only other gripe I'd have is probably like the fact that after a video being released of one of his employees putting in the secret security code, Steve Lift then doesn't change the code like in his house. He doesn't change it after there is a video of someone putting it in.
I mean, I wouldn't say that was one of my main criticisms, but
Why not?
No, it just annoyed me.
yeah.
But I wasn't sure about it, him actually have had the horse catalyst, because I did like the idea of Steve Lift genuinely believing he wasn't evil.
Yeah.
Kind of show that problem. I thought that was interesting. But I guess they wanted him to be a horse so they could end with him becoming a horse and then have the end credits thing of all the horses running into the house. I don't know.
But I did like that idea of like controlling this revolution almost, and the fact that it's being led by the elite, so it's sort of like this facade of him as, I think it's described as the Martin Luther King Jr. of the horse people.
Yeah, so it's like you feel like you're protesting, but they haven't actually done anything. And that was kind of what they wanted, which I guess is supposed to say something about what protests do today, like if they really achieve that much, which is quite true, because like I just saw a Guardian article about praising Biden for being a radical centrist. It's like, that's not really what we need right now, is it though? Like not really doing anything to help anyone. And it has a danger, even though this was written like before Trump, but actually I guess during the Obama administration it also made sense of kind of like falling into a false sense of security, where it's like things don't look bad on the surface, so we don't need to do anything, kind of thing.
Yeah, just learn to accept something if there's no real solution that you yourself can bring about.
That was definitely a theme, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Indeed.
What else is there to say?
What did you think of the cinematography?
I can't say I noticed it too much. Like
definitely the lift bit though, when you like first see the lift and Mr. Blank.
Oh, true.
Yeah. Something that
I remember that, and it wasn't ever like bad.
No, I quite like the color palette. It always seemed to be quite bright, and like I guess that sort of embraces that optimism that he had, that he's able to break away from these restrictions in society, like that would have prevented him from becoming more socially mobile, but at the same time he's having to become someone he's actually not in order to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like
maybe that's a bit stretch, but
yeah, I like the logo and typeface designs and the very comic book-esque colours of it.
Yeah. But the cinematography I wouldn't say was stand out, but I guess
never
with
got in the way.
It's Riley being like, it's sort of like the first thing it's directed.
Yeah. It's definitely a very strong debut as a director and writer, like really unique, and most of the effects were good. It was kind of interesting that they had obviously like actual masks and stuff for the horse people, and using the like stop motion animation for the corporate video of showing the horse people, where it's this idea of kind of sugarcoating the awful things that some of these companies do.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the fact that it's got a high production value automatically means that it's all fine.
It's like, watch this, it's got high production value.
It should have made it more accurate.
Isn't one of the things Steve Lift says is like, you'll get a load of, it's only 5 years, it's short, and then you'll get the special source serum antidote. And number 2, you'll get horse penis. Oh, but like he actually thought that would encourage him.
Just 5 years, you'll get
That was pretty
100 million. No, and a horse penis.
Smiley
right?
face.
Okay, I'm signing up.
But
$100
I
million
do think
smiley
that
face.
Steve Lift definitely did a great job, like the actor of
Army
showing
Hammer.
like this out of touch elite and like this disconnect that was explored quite interestingly when sort of the truth was revealed about the horse people and the fact that, as we were saying, a lot of people just sort of went along with it and were almost complicit because they didn't do anything to fight against it, just because they would kind of feel like any resistance would be futile, which I guess is realistic, but it's not necessarily what you'd have expected, because there was still opposition from the workers and the unions, but for the most part, society sort of just went on.
Yeah. I did really like it, like just quite odd.
Yeah.
It's definitely not going to be for everyone. Like some people are going to find it too strange or too on the nose with its messaging. Like maybe if you're fervently pro-capitalist, maybe you should watch the film. Actually, maybe you should watch it. That's what I'd say.
Because I feel like it wasn't necessarily the most accessible, but it was actually quite fun to watch because, first of all, it never really seemed to drag. I think the pacing was quite good, and you're always engaged with the scenes and the writing and the acting, and the music. But also because a lot of the themes in it, they were quite overt and dealt with in a way that was easily recognizable, but it didn't seem like it was like indoctrinating you into being invested in this like propaganda, this anti-capitalist. It was obviously a critique, but it kind of showed not necessarily both sides, but it wasn't like overwhelmingly negative to the point where it sort of was detrimental to the film.
Yeah, it didn't feel like it
never,
was just like propaganda in the guise of a film. It was a film that had a message and wasn't afraid to address it, but it not at all at the expense of like the plot and the production and everything.
Yeah, which is especially impressive, seeing as it's his first film.
Yeah. It definitely did well with the messaging, and it never feeling preachy. It just kind of it felt like it just showed things as they are, like with a bit of the satirical exaggeration. It never once. I mean, I guess it said about the people being confronted with horror just without a solution, learn to accept it. But the rest of it never just says like business bad.
Yeah.
It shows you all the problems with it, and problems people sometimes face when trying to unionize and stuff like that. So it definitely felt fair.
Because it seems like it's quite well reviewed with critics, but then it seems pretty divisive with audiences, maybe just because of that, like the political nature of it, I guess. And I think it does a good job of dealing with, stuff like capitalism and corporations, critiquing them, but also at the same time it has like themes of race and stuff like that. But it doesn't really focus too heavily on that, so it's able to have that balance.
Yeah. It is also just strange, like, as well as some people maybe not liking the commentary. I think just you have to be ready for horse people and
Yeah.
weird lifts that talk to you and have to put in a code for 10 minutes and stuff. But I don't think it's too like outlandish that it's never pretentious. I don't think anyone would ever get annoyed and it being straight. I mean, yeah, it's one of those where not everyone's gonna like it, whatever. And you're not superior if you do like it.
Yeah.
You might say that we're a bit odd for liking the film about people being turned into horses, but
But whatever we say is right.
oh,
so-
sorry, I forgot about that.
It's the worst way you're a special guest.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, shall we try and give it a rating?
That was smooth.
No. I don't think we should give it a rating, actually.
Alright, yeah.
Yeah, that's
Let's
fair.
just leave this.
Right, moving on to submission spotlight.
Well, I'll tell you, we had one live viewer who promptly left about 4:35, so they obviously got bored. So there's no point rating it.
Oh yeah.
If for any
It's
reason,
be an interesting one to rate.
for any reason you do want to hear us rate it, you can follow along at our website, entertainmentofexcellence.weebly.com. Go there now, right now.
I am.
So
Yeah.
good
Thanks.
boy.
That's why I'm not a special guest.
And also because he knows what 3 times chunky means.
Of course. Yeah.
Right. Okay. So,
I kind of want to listen to what other people give it first, because I'm not too sure.
Okay.
I'm trying to think of similar things to.
I'm looking at Fear and Loathing as a comparison.
Yeah. I definitely enjoyed it more than
Just-
Fear and Loathing.
You could
See, this is weird for me because I
7.8.
rated it like a lot higher than you guys.
Yeah, I enjoyed Fear and Loathing for what it was, but like, wasn't something I'd really watch again. I don't think. 6.8. Oh, damn, that's a bit lower than I thought actually. Okay, so it's in the 7s.
What a surprise.
Is it going to be 7.5? You can say
no,
it.
I'm.
How come?
gonna
Can I
go-
just ask quickly, why do we have? We don't have any that are to 2 decimal places apart from 7.25, where we have 3.
I
That's
don't
just
know.
because Ben gets annoyed at rounding it to 7.3.
No, I
He's
get.
like, oh, come on, it's exactly 7.25. Oh.
No, it's the other way around. I run around it to 7.3, but Ollie puts them at 7.25.
Ollie. Oh, it's because Ollie rated it 7.25.
Wait, what? Alright. What? Okay.
Okay, well,
Ollie.
Not my-
I'm gonna go. What did I rate Psychoville? Come on, load. 7.2. Okay, I think I enjoyed it slightly more than Psychoville. I'm gonna go 7.3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. I guess I'm thinking like so I didn't enjoy it as much as Fear and Loathing. but I rated that higher than Ben, so it's not going to be in the 6s. I'd probably put it on like the same level as Snowpiercer, where like this was also very unique and it just fell short a bit. I'll probably put it a bit higher. I'll give it a 7.4.
Nice.
Yeah.
You're
I'm
wrong.
Sorry,
gonna-
Ben.
I'm gonna go a bit higher than that, but I want
7.5?
7.5. So I'm
Oh,
7.6.
I thought you were going to say 7.5.
Oh, you just have to make it difficult, don't you?
I'll go 7.25 then.
No!
No.
Boots Riley is crying now.
Boots Criley.
I'm sorry, Boots, who is definitely listening.
Well, not anymore because he stopped listening at 25. Average rating of 7.4. Bloody hell! When are we gonna have films that aren't in the sevens?
We've had some.
Last week.
We did, yeah, last week.
What did we do last week? I can't even remember.
Truman Show.
Oh yes, yeah, that's true.
Ben.
That is true. Man
Fool.
show.
Man show. Ah, yes.
I got the
High
joke.
five.
Right. Well.
Wow.
So we usually have a submission spotlight. By usually I mean we've had this for like the best part of a year now, and we've had like 4 submissions. But if you're a creator of anything kind of entertainment related, if it's like a story, music, short film, something along those lines that we can review, send it in via the contact form or DM us on social media, or at ELV Podcast on both Instagram and Twitter. Just like get in contact with us, please. Otherwise we'll be so demoralized we'll stop doing this section. And by that... What? The guys dropped back in again, then out again, then in again, then out again.
Come on, Ben. Gotta keep them hooked.
Right. Send in your works to the submission spotlight now, Boots Riley, who's listening.
He sends us sorry to bother you and says, can you review it?
Imagine we could do that on this show as a submission spotlight and the main thing. Just review it twice.
We should have done that with Chrome.
We'll ask Martin Scorsese if he has any niche indie films. Oh yeah, Martin Scorsese, we'll do your underrated gem, Goodfellas. Anyway, is it time for recommendations?
It is indeed.
It is.
Do them now. Right now. Go on,
well,
chop.
Actually, I've not had much.
Oh, no.
I've not been able to watch any films this week because I've been too busy preparing for our next episode.
Oh.
Which I'm not going to spoil until the end when Ollie gets to tell you what to watch.
You're not going to spoil
and the link.
You
can't forget the link
at the end of the
yeah. Okay. Oh no, what is the...
We actually have the link.
We actually do have the link.
Anyway. Oh, okay. Shush, I need to recommend.
Go on, chop.
So I'm not watching any films or TV, but I'm going to recommend an album. This is on the theme of things being strange. So it's the album 1990 by Daniel Johnston. And it's classed as, like, I got introduced to it by like a YouTube video on what's called outsider music, which is, it's like music from, so some of it is just people that would produce music like on tapes and distribute them, like our Stevie Moore, and some of it are people that are kind of like on the edge of society. So Daniel Johnston suffered with a lot of mental health issues, like depression and stuff like that. But like this album 1990 is a really good introduction to him, where it's not going to be like normal music you listen to. Like it's not going to be the best production or the best played guitar and piano and singing, but it's like a really emotionally raw album. So some of it will hit you like quite hard. There's it's one of those things where the imperfect guitar playing and stuff like that kind of adds to this feeling of honesty. It's like it's a very honest music, and it's there's some songs that like I like more than others. So like I don't really like the "Got to Get You Into My Life" cover, or Don't Play Cards with Satan, but like a lot of songs are very hard hitting. Some of which are like a sad, like Devil Town, which is Daniel feeling betrayed by his friends. But some of them are melancholy. Like Some Things Last a Long Time probably hit me the hardest when I listened to it the first time. That was quite emotionally heavy. And the most famous one off of the album is called True Love Will Find You in the End, which is like a really short but very like sweet song, where I think that's probably like the best song to start with to see if you'll like the style of the album. And you listen to that, and it's just kind of it's one of the more hopeful songs. Something can get depressing, but it's really kind of interesting music to listen to, and I think like Kurt Cobain was inspired by him, and it's one of these like niche things on the fringes of the music industry, but it's not really the industry because it's on the outside, so it's definitely worth listening to.
Sounds groovy.
So do that. Yeah. That's it.
Anything, Ben?
No, who do you think I am? Special guest.
I actually don't have anything either.
Oh,
no!
This is such a bad week.
I'm so sorry.
You've let us down.
Well, we do have some good news, which is that our intro states films, TV, all of it, but I think what is it, 3 TV shows we've ever done?
Yeah, the last TV show we did was episode 8. We are on episode 40. That's 32 episodes without a single TV show.
Wait,
Until now.
the last one we did Hollywood, episode 8. It did not feel like that long ago.
Time flies.
Yeah.
But yeah, so next week we are doing The Haunting of Hill House.
Ooh.
And
Yeah, give it a binge.
I recommended its sequel, well, kind of sequel, Haunting of Bly Manor the other week, which I really enjoyed, and I'm about halfway through Haunting of Hill House right now, and I'm enjoying it as well.
Yeah, I'm exactly halfway through. I've not actually.
So am I. I am 5 episodes out of 10.
5 yet. Yeah. 5's a good place to have a break if you're wondering. So
the link between this film and A Haunting of Hill House is both are in 1080p.
That was the link you had ready?
No. As un joke.
Oh, okay, I see.
No,
I mean, the actual link is much better.
They're both released in the same year.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
That's
good enough.
Yeah.
It's difficult. We didn't even find anything last time, so.
No, they were both wacky, remember?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I guess once now that we've seen this, do you think that holds up, that comparison?
Yeah, this is definitely wacky.
It is? Would you say it's
No
more
way!
wacky than The Truman Show?
Robert Longstreet is... Yes! There's a link! Okay,
What?
Robert Longstreet, who played the boss in Sorry to Bother You, is in The Haunting of Hill House as Mr. Dudley. You're welcome. Do I get promoted from special guest now?
No.
You can increase your rations by a little bit, but
Okay, thanks.
yeah,
That's good enough.
only for this week.
Okay, I'll take that.
You'd better.
So there you go. Watch Haunting of Hill House.
Yeah, it's
Do
a
it now.
Netflix original, so you'll need to have a Netflix account to watch it. If not, just get the trial. I'd say, from what I've seen, it's probably worth it. If you don't already have Netflix, given all of the stuff we've watched, like, is just on Netflix. So yeah, do that. Watch that.
Yeah.
and hopefully we'll have a
You can
good
buy the
episode
DVD.
next week. Actually, doing our first TV show in 32 weeks. Imagine that.
That's crazy.
Wait. It
How
might
come-
even. I'm gonna check that actually. I might even be 33 weeks. No, I'm right. It's 32
We had,
weeks.
I think we had a couple of weeks off, didn't we? That's why we've had
Yeah.
like a couple of weeks we didn't release one.
Well, 32
I remember doing
episodes.
backups, but yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, thank you for listening. Go and follow us on social media at EOV Podcast. Go to our website, entertainmentofexcellence.weebly.com. Absolutely hate saying this, but like and subscribe on YouTube because it really helps.
Turn on the notification bell.
I just feel awful. I feel disgusting. I feel like I'm using my white voice. My YouTube
Ben,
voice.
I've got some news for you.
Right. Thanks for listening. Go stream Kangaroo Jack. Alright, see you.
All right,
Alright,
see ya.
Yeah, that's interesting.